I'm on a tour with Viking River Cruises called Pharaohs and Pyramids. I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, the little details, some of the things that you never find on any videos, what to expect, the surprises, some good, some maybe not as good. I'll go over the itinerary, what is included, what might cost extra. Come along! The Pharaoh and Pyramids itinerary includes 2 full days of touring in Cairo before taking a domestic flight to Luxor and boarding a Nile River Cruise. A couple of weeks prior to the cruise, we received these nice Viking luggage ID tags, leather ID tags where you can put your own name and address under the little flap that you could put on your luggage for identification purposes. And we received a couple of paper luggage tags with directions to put them on our baggage once our flight landed. We were also given little red stickers to put onto ourselves so it would identify us to the representatives that were meeting us at the airport for our transfer. Before landing at the airport, we were given a customs declaration form by the flight attendants to fill out. Cool design with Nefertiti in the background. Make sure to bring a pen with you on the flight for the form. And the line that said address in Egypt, we just put the name of our hotel and ship. We purchased our flight through Viking, and that included the transfer to the hotel. And a Viking representative was waiting for us right there at baggage claim, and he told us how to go over to get our e-visa. The e-visas are $25 at the time of this recording, and they wanted US dollars exact change. There were several bank kiosks right there by baggage claim, and all we had to do was present our exact $25 and they handed us the e-visa. We took that and our customs declaration form and our passport right after we picked up our bags from baggage claim and went to the agent, and they put the sticker of our visa in a passport and stamped it, and we were on our way. We went to the Viking motor coach, which took us through Cairo at rush hour, which I wonder if it's always rush hour in Cairo, and took us to the hotel. We stayed at the beautiful Sofitel Hotel. Now, they may use different hotels at different times. The Sofitel is pretty brand new, or at least it's a refurbished hotel. It used to be the Conrad, and it's a beautiful hotel where we stayed 2 nights. We made it to Cairo, and it's nighttime when we got here. Listen to all the horns honking downstairs. There's the Nile River. Nice view from our hotel room. And with the balcony door closed, I could barely hear any noise from the traffic below. We went to dinner at the Oak Grill restaurant here in the hotel. Dinner's not included tonight on arrival day. I have a separate video about the hotel, our room, restaurant review. Be sure to check that out if you're going to be staying at the Sofitel. And then we were ready for bed to get ready for our next day. We're about to go down for our morning meeting. Let's look at today's Viking Daily. Breakfast from 6:30 to 8, which we did. 8 to 9 o'clock is our welcome briefing. 9 to 4 is our shore excursion going to Saqqara and the Citadel. Then tonight there's an optional excursion to go to the market and dinner at a local restaurant. We saw the tomb of Khagimni and marveled over the first of many ancient carvings we would see on this trip. And at the same location, we were given the option to descend into the pyramid tomb of King Teti. Our next stop was a large funerary complex and the step pyramid built around 2700 BC. The carpet school was next on the agenda, where we watched the craft of carpet making by hand. Beautiful carpets were on display and for sale. Lunch was included today at the Saqqara Palm Club, served buffet style, and I found plenty to satisfy. Then on to the Citadel and a chance to visit the Muhammad Ali Pasha Mosque. We were smart to have avoided the optional excursion tonight. Everything was beautiful today. We had a marvelous time, but we were whipped. So it was time for an evening meal here in the hotel. We chose the Asian restaurant tonight, also very good. And then we went early to bed to get ready for day 3 of the trip. Not a lot of details on the program this morning. It looks like we've got breakfast anytime from 6:30 to 8 a.m. down in the buffet. And then we go from 8:30 to 4:30 on our shore excursion. We're going to the Grand Egyptian Museum and Pyramid. We feel very fortunate to get to go to the Grand Egyptian Museum. It just fully opened to the public earlier this month, and we were greeted by a sculpture of Ramses II. Our guide showed us many of the exhibits, making sure we found King Tut's treasures, and she explained the layout of the museum before giving us some free time to explore on our own and to have lunch. Then we went to the pyramids of Giza, and to my surprise, a camel ride was included for those who wanted to. And we definitely wanted to. This video shows one of our new cruise friends mounting the camel. I'm riding a camel. Our guide recommended that we tip our camel guide 100 Egyptian pounds each. I enjoyed getting the experience of riding a camel, and I loved the pictures we got. It was a very short ride, and I was thankful. That camel ride was one and done for me. I did not feel very secure on top of that animal. We spent some time around the pyramids and then saw the Great Sphinx. Tonight, there's dinner on our own, meet and greet, settle any bills that we may have had, that kind of thing. It's our last day in Cairo. We're checking out, have an early morning start. This morning, we did have a 5 a.m. wake-up call. We were awake long before that, though. At 5:15, we were told to put our luggage out into the hall. They opened the restaurant buffet early for us at the restaurant, and we enjoyed our breakfast this morning. At 6 a.m., we're supposed to have a transfer to the airport. First one on the bus happened to be an early bird this morning. We were told to make sure we saw our luggage and identified it so they could put it on the bus, and we knew it was there. Mine's on the bus. I'm ready to go. At 8 a.m., our flight should leave toward Luxor, and then from 10 to 1, we have our first shore excursion of the river cruise portion of this trip. This would probably be the perfect time to talk about how the independent tours work. With the Nile River Itinerary, they assigned 3 program directors, or PDs as they liked to call themselves, to the tour, and they're with you for the entire journey. You are divided into 3 different groups, Group A, Group B, Group C. If there's a bus component to the trip, the buses will be labeled A, B, and C. You know which one is your bus. The guide gets to know you, you get to know them, and you build some really close bonds and relationships with those guides and with the other members of your individual groups. These program directors are very experienced tour guides, and they are highly trained in their Egypt history. We had Osama, Rhonda, and Fatin, and they were amazing. Our particular guide was Fatin, and we just loved her. That excursion took us to the Karnak Temple. Amazing columns, obelisks, and people walking around the scarab beetle for good luck and fertility. At my age, I am not interested in fertility. Then on to the Luxor Library, where we watched a short video and then had a great observation spot for viewing the location of the original Avenue of Sphinxes. Then this afternoon, we get to board the Viking Hathor. What is this?
Hibiscus.
Hibiscus.
Yeah, welcome on board.
Thank you. All right, I feel very welcomed on board. We'll have lunch in the restaurant, and at 4:30 we will have a briefing on the ship. This evening from 5:30 to 7 we'll have another shore excursion at the Luxor Temple. It's a magical experience walking through the temple when it is all lit up at night. And at 7 p.m. is dinner, and at 8:30 they have some entertainment for us. It's our first full day on the river cruise ship. Let me look at what today's schedule will bring. From 3:30 till 4 a.m. is the ballooners' breakfast. Those who are going on the hot air balloon excursion today will have the ability to go ahead and get some breakfast items at the coffee station. From 4 till 8 a.m. is the hot air balloon ride for those who wish to have that optional excursion, which was absolutely wonderful. We got in the little boats here in Luxor that took us to the other side of the Nile. Then we got on little vans that took us over to the balloon area. Had to wait for security to clear us and for the winds to be correct. And then we were able to get on the balloons and enjoy such spectacular views down below and all above of the different balloons and what we could see in the Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens. Not sure exactly everything we saw, but what we did see was just breathtaking. Okay, back to the schedule. From 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. the cafe is open. The coffee and pastries available at the coffee station. From 6 to 10, breakfast is served at the Aquavit. And at 7 to 9, breakfast is served in the restaurant. At 8 o'clock, scheduled to cast off for Kina. 10:30, there's going to be a presentation about Egypt and the Nile from one of our program directors. Then at 11:45, we are arriving in Kina. Expecting 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Sounds beautiful to me. 12:30 p.m. lunch in the restaurant or the aquavit. From 2 to 4:30 there is a short excursion. The Dendera Temple exploration. This is one that is for everyone. At 4:30 we're going to leave Kina and travel back to Luxor. 6:30 this evening there's going to be a toast by the hotel manager Jurgen. 6:45 a port talk where one of our program directors is going to have us in the lounge so we can learn about what we're supposed to do tomorrow. 7 p.m. is dinner, restaurant or aquavit. At 8:30 it says there'll be some after-dinner drink with music. And at 9:30, welcome to Luxor again. It's going to be another very busy day today. Let's look at today's schedule. Breakfast from 6 to 11 in the cafe. From 6 to 10, there's the aquavit breakfast. 6:30 to 8:30, breakfast in the main restaurant. From 8 until 1:30, we have a short excursion to the Valley of the Kings, where we'll see the tomb of King Tut, Hatshepsut, and Seti I. And we're going to visit the Howard Carter House. The description was not entirely accurate. Actually, we got to do more than it said. We went to the Valley of the Kings and got a general admission ticket. You could go to 3 out of the many, and we were recommended certain ones. And I went to Ramses 1st, 4th, and 9th. Then we had included extra tickets that would have been an extra charge to Seti I and King Tut. Seti I, his claim to fame is that his tomb has the longest passageway to get to it. After climbing lots of steps and inclines in the tombs of Ramses, of the different Ramses, I didn't really want to do the longest tomb of King Seti. Instead, just spent a little more time going into King Tut and having some time for the restroom and sitting in the shade waiting for other people to get done. The other thing is paying for the toilets. Some places on our itinerary, Viking took care of the toilets for us. Almost every time you will have an attendant who will expect to be paid. They'll give you some toilet tissue, but it's wise to have your own tissues with you because maybe one little square might not be enough. Just get some small bills of Egyptian currency once you arrive in Egypt, and you'll be able to pay those tips as you go. Plus, anytime anybody takes your camera and wants to take a picture, you're going to have to pay them for that privilege. Or if you're taking a picture of somebody kind of dressed up, they will want a tip for doing that too. So if you have some 20 Egyptian pounds, 10 Egyptian pounds, 50, at the time of recording, 100 pounds equaled about $2. So that's kind of an idea that you can go for. Check your exchange rate and see. But that was sort of the tipping guidelines as far as those things that you might not expect while you're in a city. We didn't see Hatshepsut's tomb. We did see her temple, and it was pretty incredible. We also did go see the Howard Carter House. 1:30 p.m. is lunch in the restaurant or the aquavit. At 1:30, we're going to leave Luxor and start our way toward Esna. At 3:30, the activity day is going to be a backgammon lesson. At 4:30, an Arabic language lesson. This evening, there's a cocktail party for guests that have been with Viking before. 6:45 is a port talk. 7 is dinner. At 7 p.m., we will arrive in Esna, where we will dock. 8:30 p.m., there will be in the lounge for a local performance of the Whirling Dervish. Hey folks, we're docked in Esna today. Let's look at the daily program, see what's on the itinerary. From 8 to 9:30, there's a short excursion, the ancient temple of Esna, or just a short excursion from 8:15 to 10 to go to the village of Esna by foot. Have some time for some shopping. Oh my, we were warned about the bargaining, but the bargaining in Esna is intense. Our guide told us that whatever they start with, when you ask for a price, go half of that, and then you have a little wiggle room. He started out with one blue one, saying $1, $1. That's how he sucked me in. And then he said, what color would you like? And I said green. So we went to get a green one. Of course, he got one that was Egyptian cotton. And yes, it is much softer, higher quality. So I knew it was better than the one he started out with $1. I don't even know if he would have sold me the $1 one. But I did end up getting it for 900 Egyptian pounds and 2 $1 bills. I hope that was a decent price. Anyway, it was worth it to me. I have the experience of haggling in Egypt and a nifty little outfit to wear, even if it's just once. At 10 o'clock, we're going to leave Esna and head toward Aswan. Then there will be a sail away cocktail on the sun deck today. At 11:15 there's going to be a class on board, Egyptian hieroglyphics. At noon, lunch, once again in the restaurant or in the terrace. 2:30, a live demonstration on how to make falafel. 3:30, we're going to have tea time. Lots of choices of teas and pastries out on the terrace. At 4 p.m., there's another presentation about medicine in ancient Egypt. At 4:45, we can get to tour the wheelhouse, learn about our ship and the waterways that we sail. Then we'll get to talk with the captain. 6:45, there's a port talk to find out about tomorrow. 7 o'clock, a dinner, taste of Egypt and the Galabaya. Going to be dedicated to Egyptian cuisine in the restaurant, and we'll have some Egyptian music.
So we have here Oriental salad,
Okay.
shake bee with hummus, baba ganoush, creamy cheese, fafa beans, and here we have tahini.
At 8:45, some evening entertainment with Nubian dancers, and at 9:30 we will arrive in Aswan. Promises to be a busy day, but maybe a relaxing day, because you can choose to do whichever ones of the activities that you want to do, or stand up on the deck and just watch the scenery go by. Today we are in Aswan, the farthest south we're going to go on this journey, and I can feel the heat. We have adjusted breakfast hours for those that are leaving a little early. The coffee shop is usually open like 6 to 11, but the Aquavit is going to be open 6 to 10 for breakfast this morning, and the restaurant open from 6:30 to 8:30. There's an optional excursion today at 7:45 until 3:30. It's a long one where they're going to the temples of Abu Simbel. Going to actually take a short flight to get over there to see that temple. We did not opt for the optional excursion today. 8:30 to 12:30 is the short excursion for everybody that's not doing an optional one. Going to the Aswan Dam, going to do a local market visit and a felucca sale. This market is so much more pleasant than the one we saw in Esna. The locals are kind. They're not really trying to hassle you quite as much. They're not coming up to you and making sure to touch you and holler at you. It was a pleasant experience, as far as bargaining can go. This afternoon lunch will be at 12:30. From 2 to 5:30 p.m. there's an optional excursion for the Botanical Garden and the Old Cataract Hotel for tea time. 3:30 p.m. is lunch for the latecomers, those who went to Abu Simbel. Tonight at 6:30 they're going to have the hotel manager Jurgen's going to talk about the different Viking itineraries available for booking. 7:15 is the port talk about tomorrow, and at 7:30 is dinner. It is Sunday, our second day in Aswan. Let's look at today's schedule. Starting this morning at 8 a.m. until 1:30 p.m., we're going to have our shore excursion that's included, going to a Nubian village, the Philae Temple, and the Papyrus Institute. To get to the Nubian village, we took a 50-minute boat ride. They divided us up into 3 different groups, and our guides went with us and explained what we were seeing all along the way. When we got to the Nubian house, we were given the opportunity to look around at will, see the house crocodiles. Yes, I said house crocodiles. If you wanted to hold one, that was $2 or 100 Egyptian pounds. If you wanted a henna tattoo, those were $5. And it was amazing how quickly she could do a tattoo. To get to the Philae Temple, it was also by boat. We took a motor coach to the boat dock, divided into our groups to get to the temple, and had a tour there. I'll give you my helpful hint for this particular excursion. If you have an opportunity to get toward the front of the boat, you will probably appreciate that. The motor noise and fumes in the back is pretty strong. And at 1:30, as soon as lunch begins, we are casting off. We're going to leave Aswan and go to Kamambo. Will be 4:30 or so when we arrive at Kamambo, and we have another included short excursion of the temple there. As usual, we have all kinds of options to buy. We're going to go to the Crocodile Museum in a little bit after we come up here to the temple. We had to scan our tickets to come in. Those of us with bags had to put it through a security scanner before we came through. Our ticket to the temple will also get us into the museum. There's a case full of mummified crocodiles. This evening we will leave Kamambo at 6 p.m. and at 6:30 there will be a meeting about all of the details we need for disembarkation. And they do request that at least one person in each stateroom attends that. At 6:45, there will be a port talk. At 7, there's dinner. 8:30, entertainment in the lounge with music. And 10:30, our ship will arrive in Edfu to dock for the night. Today we're in Edfu, our last full day of the river cruise. Today the shore excursion is divided into 3 groups. Group A is going to leave at 8:30, Group B at 9, and Group C at 9:30, but we're all back by 11. I'm here at Edfu Temple. At the entrance we had security, we had to scan our tickets. They did not require us to put our bags through, but they did have those screeners. There's a cafe here right at the very front. And there it is, our first glimpse of the temple. At 11 o'clock we're planning to leave Edfu, head toward Luxor. At 11:30, the people that are going to Jordan on a post extension will have a briefing. At 11:50, those that are going to Alexandria will have a briefing. At noon is lunch. At 2:30 will be called scenic sailing, and I know part of that is going to be as we go through the locks at Esna. You can hear somebody hollering, "Hello, hello, how are you?" They are wanting to sell us things again from the boats. It's a textile city, and so this is the only city where they come up to you in boats and throw their wares up. If you want it, you buy it and put the money in the bag and throw it down. If you don't want it, you just throw that back down. Okay, just threw it at you. Are you going to keep it? No. You go. 4 o'clock, there's going to be a presentation about women in Egypt. At 6:30 is a farewell cocktail, a toast to celebrate our new friends. At 6:45, there's a port talk. 7 p.m. dinner. 7:30, we should arrive in Luxor, and at 8:30, there'll be some music. It's our last morning on board. Let's look at the daily schedule for our final day. This morning from 6 to 8, we could get cafe breakfast. From 6 until 8. Also, the breakfast is open in the restaurant. We were directed to put our bags outside of our staterooms this morning by 6:30. They gave us some little tags to put on the bag so that it would indicate which motor coach it was going to be loaded on. They're going to take our bags up all the stairs and to where the motor coaches are. And the cats are overseeing the project too. Then we will go about 7:30 to go up there and identify our bag and make sure it gets put on the motor coach. Then they will take us to the airport. They remove all of our bags from the motor coach and they take them over to the departures entrance, where we identify our own suitcase and take it in to security. They screen everything here, all of our checked bags as well as our carry-ons, purses, everything goes through a scanner. They divided us into a men's line and a women's line because they do pat search you to be sure you are secure. And the security process is a little chaotic, but I am very thankful for security. Then we go into a line to officially check our bags and get our boarding passes. The Viking representatives are with us through the entire process. After we've checked the bags, we go through a second screening process where we had to take off our shoes, belts, jackets, everything. There's a lot more involved at the second screening process before boarding the plane. At the gate where we could scan the boarding pass, and we went into a shuttle. The shuttle then took us to the airplane. The plane did have room in the overhead bins for carry-ons, and there is a little bit of leg room at the seat and good space underneath the seat for additional carry-on items. And we had about a 1-hour flight to return to Cairo. Once again, they had a worker that got all of the bags off the belt, and then we were instructed to go get our bags, and we're going to take them to the coaches. The hotel that we have today is the Intercontinental. It's only 20 minutes away from the airport, so that's why they chose it for this particular itinerary, because a lot of us have very early morning flights tomorrow. At 12:30 p.m., we're going to have lunch in the restaurant at the hotel in Cairo. We have a pasta station. You get shawarma, mushrooms, beef fillet, vegetables, spinach, white rice, soup. Look at all these desserts. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, at 2 o'clock, the rest of the day is at leisure unless you booked an optional excursion. From 2 to 5:30, there's an optional excursion for the Coptic Quarter. That's the one we are going on, where we went into the Jewish section, saw the Ben Ezra Synagogue, toured the Hanging Church, and visited the Coptic Museum. Also, there's one to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. At 7 o'clock tonight, we will have a goodbye dinner at the hotel. All right, this morning we had our bags set out really early by 3:30 a.m. and supposed to be in the lobby by 4. And we got down a little early. They had a breakfast box for us. Yogurt, there's an apple, danishes, honey, muffins, breads, little breakfast sandwiches, guava drink, and bottled water. Whew, that's a lot of breakfast. We could also get a cup of coffee there from the bar. So we ate a little bit of that breakfast. They told us we could bring it on the flight if we wanted to, but we didn't really want to haul it all around. We came to the airport by a shuttle, and then once we got there, they took our bags right out of the coach and had them ready for us to pick up. And a guide met us right there, Viking rep. They've been with us all the way. The Viking rep then walked us in through the departures, showed us where our flight was to board. After we checked in for the flight, he gave us our immigration forms, told us what to do to fill them out. Then he was done for the day. So we were on our own at that point. Went to the immigration, had to show our passport, our boarding pass, and our immigration form. Then we went through a second security, and in the second security we had to actually take off shoes, put computers in the scanner, walk through. Every time we've done that, we've been patted down. That seems to be normal procedure. Well, we made it through security. Now we've got to find gate E. All right, this is unique to me. Our gate E7, we cannot actually go in the gate yet. There's a few people waiting inside there, but we're gonna just wait around out here till it looks like they've started boarding. Once the gate agents arrive, we see people beginning to go into that waiting area where we will show our boarding pass and passport and then get ready to board our flight. It has been a wonderful trip. This is Shirley with Shirley's Journeys, and I hope all of your journeys are pleasant ones.